Oh, look at this. I'm actually a little early. Imagine that. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Um, just speak favor over all of us right now. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Hello, Big Al, as you're heading westbound. Favor surrounds you. David Castle and David Berry. How are you, my friend? And Paul, let me see, and Bree. So good to see everyone. It's a interesting day. I love it. I love it. I hope your day is going well. Hello, Nina the Mystic. How fortuitous that I see you. Nina will be on tomorrow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And what I'd like to start doing is like every Friday, just kind of have it to where if you'd like to come on, don't need to be talking about anything in particular, but just kind of have a little chat. Two or three, I think it'd be kind of cool. So think about it. Hey, Cheesesteak, what's up? B3, hello. Hillard, good to see you. Hello, Kaz. Got your stuff coming. Lost in Space, hello, hello. What's that, Nicholas? I can't see that all the way. Amy, good to see you as well. Far out day, eh? Let's see. Tonight on the Steiger Perspective, got Nancy Addison coming back on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good conversation. I really like her. I like, um, she brings people back to health. And today, I would say health is probably the most important thing one can possess. I think that a person who actually has their health is the wealthiest person around. So there, my thought. Theron, good to see you. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Miss Lois, Cajun Queen Tarot. Lois, got to get you on. We could just be talking. Hello, Rachel. Good to see you, my dear. Rebecca, Jill, hello, and Paul Joe. Peace. Uh, let's see. Anyone? I really meditated on this. Anyone, did you see it? And we'll see how good we are getting. Hello, Darlene. How you doing, my dear? Good to see you, my love. Hello. Uh Churchill, good to see you. Lisa, hello, beloved Astruck. So, anyone want to take a guess? Not a guess. We don't want guesses. I'll just remove that from my vernacular. No, haven't seen you. Let's see. Bernadette, I can give you a half credit. Um, let's just see. We'll just continue to go on. and and remember, we're using the standard testing deck. So no, everyone's going, Lisa's going, guess what's he talking about? All right. So it was the green star. So for those of you, we use the standard square equals 4, can be black, yellow circle 1, excuse me, wavy lines, blue 3, red cross 2, and green star 5. There we go. Not David. I mean, you got children. I mean, that's a distraction, man, you know? um, that's just funny, dude. I tell you what, I really appreciate the quality of souls that are amongst us. I mean, we got the best. I mean, if there was a ever a place where I would want to be, it would be in the energy of all of you. Y'all are just far out. That's all I got to say. You know, I was thinking about this, as we grow older, one of the things, oh, by the way, on the Steiger Perspective, artistverse.com, 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Mountain. The link is shown below. The one thing that I guess we could say is that all of us become sharper, more sensitive at deception. I mean, all of us have been deceived. The whole world is in deception. The corporate world, I mean, it sucks. You know, deception, politics, religion. I mean, it's deception is everywhere. And as we get older, we feel that we get better at sensing deception or when we're being deceived. You know, so often if you leave, it can be anything, a club, a religion, you know, someone inevitably will say, well, she's just been deceived. By what? That's the question. You know, what? Um, and history. It seems like history is the one thing because we teach our children a form of history, right? Um, so is it real? Did it really happen? I don't know. It's a question that, well, it's hard to say. It's very interesting. I'm just seeing something here that really is odd because it's odd it didn't take. We're seeing the yesterday's title, which YouTube has really been messing up, man. So I'll get that straight afterwards. But anyway, we're here. But history, how do we teach it? Do we teach that what is history is reality? And if we accept that history as reality, then we're more prone to become more rigid in our points of view. Rigidity is a sign that you've just become brittle. And once you become brittle, it doesn't take much to break. It's true. At night, I've been studying, I read from a number of books, but there's this one that I've been studying. This is the history of the vanquished goddesses, Ashra. And this is a fascinating book, well written, well documented. And you see, this would be an indictment on our reality today. Our whole belief systems, our religions of all of the worlds, our politics, our social cliques, our economic statuses. This book is an indictment that says that we're living a lie. We're living under an illusion that it seems like no matter how far you get away from it, God damn it, you're still in it. And it's just freaking hard to break away because the thing is, we're clearly been deceived. Modern Homo sapien is a deceived species. How ridiculous is it that a species doesn't know its origins? When the insect kingdom can pass that on and they can tell you the exact minute they came in. It's inherent to their species, but not of sapiens. No, sapiens, we think we've got it all figured out, but we don't. And again, when you study this and you begin to realize why were the belief systems changed? Why? What was to be gained from changing history? Completely altering the very foundation. Weird, isn't it? Yeah. And when you read this and you read the consequences behind it, there is a passage in here that I was reading, and it basically goes, woe unto the people that if they forget the mother goddess, their woes shall be increased, famine, pestilence, disease, confusion. I don't know. And the question I keep asking myself is, well, who was behind this? Why? I don't know. All I do know is that the more that I read, the more, if you weren't open-minded, flexible, and you have to be, you could get really, I'm reading the second book, and this one is pretty strange too. I mean, yeah. This is the one about, the aliens harvesting sapiens souls. Literally, there is a technology that exists, apparently, and I call it technology, that apparently when you are departing this plane, you can literally get caught in one of these. And I'm still reading as to what happens to you next. I don't know. We're reading books. Many of us practice magic here. I say practice, it's like practicing medicine. Isn't that interesting, spiritual girl? So the Luciferian March of One World Government, Buffalo, New York, June 21st through the 22nd. What kind of ritual spell casting will this be? Well, we've talked about that, spirit girl. It's harvesting energy. It's the reason why these events, the protest, everything else, they're addictive. They're a virus. And it's a natural draw, because if you're in a religious service, if you're in a political rally, a campaign, if you made cheerleader and part of the cheerleader club, the point is, when we get to a group and we're all focused in on particularly something emotional, lots of power, lots of psychic energy that can be focalized and harvested. And again, many of us, who practice it, that's what it is. We practice. We don't know it all. Try to read, many of us in here, I know David Barry, others, we're ferocious readers. I mean, my wife has told me, she said, you have, she says, at least 10 years of books to go through. And I said, yeah, I know. And there's always more coming. I mean, it's interesting. I look at this, and for instance, sigils. I mean, we've studied Solomon's magic. I mean, every one of us know what this is. But when you get into this one, the Grimorium of the Verum, this is pretty heavy magic. I mean, it's not for the beginner. I would say that this is advanced. But when you begin to see the similarities, so where do we get all this? I have a couple of great PDFs I want to share with y'all. Some books. I think many of you who are collectors, I don't know if you have this. This is the Shadow Tree series. There's 3 volumes to this. Fascinating journey. This is Book of Self-Creation. And this is by Jacobus G. Suart. Let me just read you the first part of it, because this is really interesting. The Shadow Tree series comprises a unique collection of Western esoteric studies and practices, which Jacobus Swart, spiritual successor to William G. Gray, has actuated and taught over a period of 40 years. Regarding the author of this series, William Gray wrote, "It is well to bear in mind that Jacobus Swart is firstly and lastly a staunchly practicing member of the Western inner tradition and preforces writes from the specific angle alone. Moreover, he writes well, lucidly, and absolutely honestly. The Book of Self-Creation is a study guide for all who seek God within and who prefer to steer the courses of their lives in a personal manner. The doctrines and techniques addressed in this book will aid practitioners in the expansion of personal consciousness and spiritual evolution. Combining the principles and teachings of Kabbalah and ceremonial magic, the book offers step-by-step instructions on the conscious creation of physical life circumstances, such being always in harmony with the mindset of the practitioner." Well, if that doesn't draw you in, I don't know, you're not interested in the subject, obviously, but no, seriously. It's an interesting book. Let me go down here just to give you an idea. So in this particular book, and there's 3 of them, and we'll look at these, you have the Kabbalah, facts and fiction. Interesting because I would think you would have to agree on this subject. Regardless of the type of magic you practice and deploy in your lives, and we all, folks, you practice magic every day. To give you proof of that, it's your breathing. Now, you would say, well, we can go on the physiology. No, it's quite amazing. 2, we're going to get into a couple of these, from nothing to something. Remember I did a teaching on the nothingness? We're going to look at this real quick. The triple soul and shadow bodies. Wow, doesn't that just draw you right in? Magical empowerment, introduction, discovering, and I think this is the Nephish, self-exorcism. Isn't that an interesting term? Self-exorcism. And then the rite of Noton Kovad, giving respect, the science of breath. That's what we found in the alien book, breathing. I got this ab machine that I'm working out on because I'd already started doing it, but not in earnest until Trina and I were talking. And it just, I tell you, there, if you go back and look at the show, there was a moment that something just hit me there, that the solar plexus. And I'm starting to get back into the routine now where I am really doing the abdominal crunches, getting my solar plexus back into shape. And it was quite interesting when I was meditating after I had worked out, that my breathing is becoming more centered into my solar plexus, and it's interesting. So the science of breath, the universal life force, the mother of breath, the complete breath, the advanced breathing program, taking on the name, chapter 6, invoking divine power, invocation of subtle energy, practicing the presence, spontaneous dance. Oh, baby. I don't have any problem with that. I mean, listen, I was dancing when I came in, and I'll be dancing when I be going out, and I'll be having the Bee Gees playing right behind me. But anyway, exercising the spirit body. That's an interesting term again. You know, where Nikola Tesla taught us about how he experienced the pleasures of math, of science, electricity, exercising your spirit body, creating your own reality, directing, and I believe this is the Roch Enut. I could have been wrong on that. The spiritual force. That's what we'd be talking about. And, you know, in layman's term. Four in the heavens, four on the earth, chapter 7. Identification with the elements, breathing the elements, amplification of the elements, balancing with the elements, projecting the elements, mastering the universal element. And finally, the four winds, directions. Chapter 8, the fivefold path, attitude or focused awareness, divine union, equanimity, aloneness or meditation, universal consciousness. The Migdim, the spirit messengers, contacting, Amejid, the power of positive feeling, the Hebrew letters of the archetypes, words of power. We may look into that one. I like that one. Words of power. Ascending in light, the procedures of light, acknowledging beauty, tracing the bit. Well, that's pretty cool. Let me see which one we can take a peek at. God, this is it's really cool stuff. I mean, obviously, Hebrew. Again, I have said this and I'll continue to say this. The serious magic that I see, and obviously I need to be studying, you know, much more Eastern, Chinese, even getting into the original people. They have, I think, an older magic. I think Julianne would agree with me on that. But nevertheless, if you're going to get into, and I you know, this is the Kabbalah, this is Solomon's magic. You can get into, again, the Golden Dawn, the Hermetic teachings. Inevitably, the Kabbalah is going to play a role in this. The Sefer Yetzirah is, you know, one of the books that it's a heavy read, but nevertheless, it is everywhere. So they goes through, obviously, through a good lesson in here. And I'm just trying to quickly span because we've got two others I want to show you. You know, you can do the Jeopardy game if you'd like. Gets into whether the Kabbalah is how it happened, where it came from. It's an interesting. Here's my question on this. Just a layman. But when the nation of Israel was taken into captivity under Nebuchadnezzar, as what the history is recorded from both the returning Jews and those that subsequently defeated Nebuchadnezzar, the Medo-Persians, the Jews forgot the name of God. They didn't carry with them their books. They only carried what they had up here. So when I see continually the influence of the Hebraic influence on magic and on history, I can't help but not detect a certain deception here. Now, there have been wiser men than me, women, Maybe they have figured it out. I read a lot of the people's comments, folks. None of us have it figured out. No religion, no theology, no ideology has gotten it figured out. But yet, we have to deal with what we have. This is knowledge that I question its authentication. I question its legitimacy, but nevertheless, it's virtually penetrates everything in the subject of the occult, even the tumult. So I want to get into, listen, just email me. I'll get you the book. So from nothing to something, the eternal no thing. How can one speak of that which is unknown? Good question. After all, I am to speak of the nothing, that which is not a thing, yet emanates all things and is at the same time all things. How shall I say it? Before the beginning, there was nothing, no thing, nothing. And yet this no thing is absolute essence, absolute potential. It is difficult to steer the mind towards perceiving that which is beyond human conception, even though this absolute essence also comprises the ordinary mind. One cannot even comprehend it in ecstasy, since it is stillness. And yet, one can almost feel understanding. Have you ever had that feeling in the classroom when it clicks? Yeah. Since it somehow, without mind or body, in the silence of the spirit, know it within one's soul. Prior to all things, all creation, to everything that is manifested, including space and time, there was only no thing. It was coined and soft, infinite nothing. In the Preference School of Early Kabbalah, we are faced with seemingly two ideas, nothing and infinity. But even though there is an apparent duality, it is essentially one and not two. The absence of things and infinity are essentially one. And Sof is the infinity of the absence of things. And as the beginning of all things is the no thing, so is the end of all existence the no thing, nothing. This nothingness, as it is sometimes called, is understood in Kabbalah to be the highest level of spirit. Go back in my archives and watch that video. So we commence with the nothing from which all somethings derive. Termet, and in Hebrew, literally meaning without or absence. It is no thing because it is the absence of things. However, there is no finiteness here. It is infinite. Sof in Hebrew, and I think I'm saying that right, and Sof, the closest description we have of ultimate reality. Wow. Ultimate reality. I don't even know how to define that. Has been translated the endless one, the infinite being. Over here, and you can't see it in my other wall in the office here, I have a huge whiteboard. And there is some writings that I got into about 6 years ago that has never changed. That's when I was introduced to the infinite being. That's why I have my hypothesis that it can't be God. God is too ambiguous, too generalized, too personified. Whatever it is, it came from no thing. Apparently, so did we. The nothingness. But the nothingness is not emptiness. Emptiness is a completely different thing. This is just a presence of no thing. The ultimate in spiritual development. The infinite, the ultimate nothingness, and the nothingness without end. The no thing does not exist in time, yet it emanates time and is also time. It is both no thing and all things simultaneously. It is an eternal now, which overtakes running time while standing still. It is what it is within itself. Ladies and gentlemen, you came into the advanced calculus class today. This is some mind-blowing constructs. Oh, we got to continue a little bit on this one. This is a state of being most powerfully realized when one's attentiveness, awakeness, is focusing inwards on itself, on the experiencer. I've been telling you folks, the reason for us being here is the experience, nothing else. But within that experience is everything. The one who meditates thinking and feeling, the one who is expressing these in actions, the one who is the essence which binds all experiences together, the one who says, my thoughts and my feelings. It is the self, the I, who, like the external no thing, is beyond thinking and feeling, yet able to manifest all manner of thought and emotions. In fact, the self is one with the no thing, the nothingness. Yet, while it is God in its own right, it is only part of the eternal living spirit. So, Anvai Ani, nothing, and the self, comprises the reasons for and behind all existence, giving meaning to mind and soul. Again, this is the experiencer who, being no thing, creates things out of itself. Hence, the eternal living spirit is able to experience itself through all manifestation, through everything. It has projected into the realm of time-space events. Three acting together as one. Returning to the subject of manifestation as a whole, we understand there is really an entire hierarchy of forces holding the basic constituents of life together. Molecule to molecule in liquids and solids, atom to atom in molecules, electrons to the nuclei in atoms, protons to other protons, and neutrons to the nuclei. The first three types of force patterns are due to electrons and protons being oppositely charged and hence attracting one another. However, the entire process is based on a law of three acting together as one, which appears to govern all manifestation. All life processes are based on a principle of three qualities acting together as one. The study of the law of threes, or what could be termed the tyranny, is very interesting indeed. But of course, we first have to understand the binary, the 1+1 or polarized qualities, which are only solved when they have balanced into a third quality between the two opposite poles of the binary. Here, instead of the logical 1+1 = 2, the binary 1+1 actually equals 3. And that 3 is a sacred number in many spiritual traditions. It's the sign of the triangle, the separate three corner points of which constitute the tyranny, but when acting together as one creates a fourth quality. Thus we arrive at the strange calculation 1+1 = 3 = 4, or the tetrad. For anything to manifest as an event within time-space, there must firstly be a positive, active, and dynamic element or force to initiate the process of manifestation. Secondly, there has to be a passive and receptive element receiving the flow from the positive element. A third principle then ensues as a result of the meeting between the active and passive elements, combining them into a neutral, and a new unit results from the three acting together as one. Take, for example, the atom, comprising the positive proton, negative electron, and the neutral neutron. Proton, neutron, and electron function together in a single unit called the atom. Another example is the embryonic disk from which our physical bodies derive. It consists of three cells called the ectoderm, the monocoderm, and the endoderm, all acting together as a basic substance of our human flesh. While not referring to it in such a direct manner, this process was delineated in our discussion of the eternal no thing. In fact, An Safar is the very process of three acting together as one, each of the three being part of the same selfness of the great unmanifest. The N is the infinity small with the positive seed, so to speak, whereas self meaning without N represents the infinitely big, or the negative womb. These two factors are the divine opposites or polarities, the balancing or relationship of which creates light or energy as a neutral force emanating everywhere at once. Finally, the Ein Sof are conjointly create a fourth principle or quality, which is the three-dimensional reality of time-space events. Wow, I could go on and reading this one. And then he gets into time-space events. Told you this was good. By the way, there is yet the second book. This is the Book of Sacred Names. Again, names are everything. Said that's how Solomon controlled the demons to build the first temple. In this one, much more of the Hebrew, the Roch, name of powers, the 42-letter name of God. Again, heavily Kabbalistic here. The name of the 72 names. I mean, we've got the 72 seals of Solomon, magical remedies, and Hebrew amulets. Wow. The path of pain and pleasure, magical technique for health and healing, magical protection, the universal Shavat amulet, amulets for wealth and happiness. Well, you can't go wrong on that one, folks. I mean, come on. I mean, seriously. I'm just curious on this one, folks. We may have to, let's just take a peek on the amulet for, let me do something up here real quick, folks. I want to remove the video panel. Thank you. All right, so let's go down here. We are speed reading, and if any of you have figured it out, send me the notes. So let's just see what we can find out on. Oh yeah, yeah, looks like Chinese to me. I thought I would end this book with a very special, and I guess that's a kema, which useful in a variety of intentions, was employed for the purpose of acquiring wealth. This opens up a whole new subject that where we may have gotten the myths of the magic genie, other things. Is it possible for an individual to open a specific portal controlled by a particular force that naturally will begin to attract wealth? It would seem my answer would be yes. Of course, I don't read Hebrew, so that puts me at a distinct disadvantage because I don't know this language. I have no idea in my cognitive comprehension of what I'm really looking at. But I'm curious enough to know, well, what are we dealing with? So apparently this is an association who utilized this amulet for financial reasons. Utilist, that's a word that you don't utilize to, who utilized this amulet for financial reasons. There we go. Informed me that since he personally found it difficult to recreate by hand, he thought he could get equally good results if he printed a good electronic image of the, I guess that's Kimea, on the finest board or paper. This is quite acceptable, since printed copies of amulets have been in use since the invention of the printing press, and these have turned out to be quite efficacious, I guess. Huh. Let's see. Since the basic intention of my associate was to use this to generate circumstances which would afford him the greatest opportunity to acquire financial freedom, he decided to employ Hebrew words pertaining to wealth. Specifically, I guess that's Ashar, Oshar, and I guess that's Hishar and Hishar. Ashar, to be rich, to become rich. Oshar, wealth. Hishar, to gain riches. Hitchashar, to enrich oneself. The word Hitchar was selected since it referred directly to acquiring personal wealth. And what is more, it included the other listed terms. Next, the individual letters comprising the chosen Hebrew word are traced amongst the set of letters in an uttermost column of the KMEA, this specific sector comprises of a set of unique divine names, including, as indicated in bold in the following illustration, the 42-letter name. The individual who employed this in the most beneficial manner informed me that he was extremely careful in selecting in the exact order the letters comprising the Hebrew word related to his objective. Now, isn't this interesting? Because, we have read about a lot of different spells, the encounter hall, warning the individual, you need to do this specifically. Don't try to take a shortcut. Don't try to do something else. And again, here's this warning very specifically in the Kabbalah. Furthermore, he ensured that the component letters were not located amongst the glyphs, which might trigger consequences countering his basic intention. This is powerful stuff, folks. Tracing the letters of the word in the top column of the Kame, the first two letters of the chosen term are readily at hand in the first row, and what is more, these letters are located with the Vav. Folks, obviously, this is not for beginners. I don't even have the understanding enough of the Hebrew tongue to quantify this. But in any case, if you want it, you can have it. The last one is the Book of Seals and Amulets. Again, these are not very long, as you can see. I really enjoy the guy's style of writing. So we have, again, the sacred names in Hebrew amulets. Anyone who has studied Solomon magic, they're very well familiar with this. Letter words and number squares. Many of you are in the sacred geometry, already. Sacred writ, sacred alphabets, and magical seals, angels, demons, and amulets for protection. Excuse me. Well, Findish Hordids and the amulet for protection. Health, wealth, and happiness, pattern, shapes, and sizes. Okay. Give me 1 second. Getting all choked up there. Woo. Excuse me. Hate it when you do that, isn't it? And it's just, you swallow your tea and you don't mean to, and then it's a heck of get the balance back. So anyway, it's interesting knowledge, and we're going to eventually finish this little book here because all of this leads to a point. And the point is this. This knowledge has been around for a very long time. Kabbalah magic, the Kabbalah itself. I mean, it's a derivative of the Hebraic faith, the occult part, but nevertheless, still a part of it. And look how I always am amazed to see the impact that it had in the Dark Ages. And of course, we've read of many of the great magicians that were out there. Did it work? Well, excuse me. Well, there you go. Enough of that. Anyway, I don't know. Um, I'd like to have seen some of the magic back in the days. I would like to have seen what Aleister Crowley did. Was he really that powerful? Churchill thought so. Look how much influence Crowley has had on our culture. Anyone who studies the occult will come across Crowley. I don't know what your opinion is of him. He was a prolific writer. Um, when I see someone who wrote The Golden Dawn, I mean, what kind of individual, and it's right here next to my desk because I use it for reference all the time, but I mean, seriously, folks. I mean, and this is small. I say this is probably 8-point font, but yet, is this bogus? Is this useless knowledge? No, it's not. Powerful knowledge in there. David Barry, it is a big read. I can only take it in small doses, to be candid with you. I can probably limit myself to, 2 or 3 chapters, and then, I have to set it down and walk away from it. But David, while you're in here, so just give us your quick assessment of that. Hey, Jargo. Crowley was channeling a source. That's very interesting, Spirit Girl. He was obviously connected to something. I don't know what, but obviously it was a pretty powerful influence. I think the same thing regarding. He had to be plugged into something. I mean, to write this way. I'm waiting for David. Let's see. Excuse me. Valensky. Yeah. Yep. Another one. Yep. What do you think, David, on your assessment of the Golden Dawn? What do you, just getting your overall assessment if you were to put it in a couple of words? So, a lot of these people, I often wonder, and we're about to finish up here, but so were they connected to the ancient ones? I don't think they were connected to any of the gods that man has manifested in the modern world. And I can't help but not think that whatever they were connected to, I guess that would be qualifying as a higher intelligence. Would you say? I don't know. It's interesting, and I again have to, let's see. David said definitely has its merits. It's about discipline at the first 10 masteries. That is it. Most people don't ever get past that because of the discipline. But we're getting there. I think that this, as a group, we're learning. I don't think it has to be as rigid as this. That's just my opinion. They lived in a different time, a different era. They didn't have technology. And I'd be curious to see. Let's see. Interesting. I just reading this. I love this group. I just love this group. Y'all are just like the coolest things that is you could ask for in a group. Because we collectively manifest our own gods? I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I'll say this. I think there are more that are aware of us, these higher intelligences. I'm talking about this group specifically. I think they're in touch with us. I really do. I think that we are a medium, a focal point. The energy that's in this group is one of, there is favor here. There is compassion. There is genuine care, concern. And this is what I really enjoy about this group. And just y'all are reading into that. Summer of Healing. Boy, didn't something come through us in that group? When I got that, what was that? That was back in February. Yeah. When I said, I just had this sense that we're going to need 2020, the year of the Summer of Healing. Let's see. Julianne says intentions. Oh, she says that. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm just reading some of the comments. You see, I can't do that and drive the bus at the same time. All right, folks. I'm going to wrap it up early. I can't get into of the Pisios, but we'll visit there. We'll continue. It's just we don't have that much far to go. But again, getting back to the theme. I mean, this is a type of knowledge that the mainstream, the masses don't know about. It's interesting. Most of my life, it was always there. Seriously, I can remember I was, a part of Edgar Casey and his whole organization, and several other things I can remember. I can remember the EST program, which was another, interesting thing. Ron L. Hubbard as well. But yeah, I look back in my life now, and it's amazing how much of this knowledge has consistently tried to get my attention. But I was a very devout Christian, the Bible was the absolute word of God, and he said it and that settled it. But that's part of the indoctrination. And all the other time I found out that apparently my spirit guides or my higher self was trying to direct me into a knowledge. And today I'm very happy where I'm at, I have to say. Great group of people here. We are unique thinkers. We really are. And I just find myself more grateful all the time for everyone here. Way back in time, Darlene and I, we went way back. I mean, Darlene Totten in the group here, she actually knew me before I actually became a ward of the state. So yeah. Lucky Stone says, truth is always truth, but those who want to control the narrative shade and cover the truth with frostings of misinformation. Very, very well. That's a great metaphor. I love that. That flowed very nicely. Love to you as well, Kaz. Yeah. So it's interesting. And so now I see a different history. And then it leads to these questions, why? I mean, we get back to why was the female goddess struck down? And by all indications, that's what happened with Yahweh. Very evident that this was his wife. He had others, but yeah, the Jehovah, Yahweh, yeah, the Lord, and he purposely divorced Asherah. No one was happy about that decision. Apparently only Yahweh was. And there was a banishment that took place. And isn't it odd how this banishment lasted through the masses of population for thousands of years? No one I know in my growing up ever mentioned that God had a wife. No one. Well, so it really makes you think now, So if God had a wife, then who the hell was Mary? Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going to end it while we're ahead of the curve here. Appreciate it, folks. Have yourself a great day. Tune in tonight over at artistfirst.com. Got Nancy Addison's going to have a great conversation. Tomorrow, I got Nina the Mystic. I'm really looking forward to that conversation. And thank you all again. You make what this is worth it. And we don't do it for the money, that's for sure. We do it because we love it. And this is so much of all of our purposes in life. And I grow from all of you, and I think we all grow from each other. So, all right. Much love to you all. Peace out. See you tomorrow with Miss Nina. All righty. Bye-bye.